The claim that I'll be responding to today is the legalization of marijuana would have a negative impact on health, youth, and crime in society. And the secondary claims that I will be refuting that are: 1, marijuana legalization would have harmful effects on the human health. 2, legalization of marijuana will undermine the anti-drug use with the youth. And 3, the likelihood of a fatal car crash related to driving under the influence of marijuana and other crimes will increase with the legalization of marijuana. So first, marijuana legalization would have harmful effects on human health. My opponent states that marijuana contains more than 400 chemicals, including harmful substances found in tobacco. And this statement makes the audience feel that the majority of chemicals in marijuana is harmful, which in actuality only a few chemicals in marijuana are harmful. And then when marijuana with chemical count is compared to coffee has 2.5 more times the amount of chemicals in it at over 1,000. And also, though it is stated that marijuana has harmful effects on the body, no reference is made to the health benefits of marijuana. So according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, scientists have confirmed that the cannabis plant contains active ingredients with therapeutic potential for relieving pain, controlling nausea, stimulating appetite, and decreasing ocular pressure. So with any drug that is used, there are benefits and side effects. And secondly, legalization of marijuana will undermine anti-drug use with the youth. The legalization of marijuana would be sold and regulated similar to cigarettes, since they are frequently compared to each other. Anti-cigarette campaigns have had a significant impact on lowering the amount of smokers, as well as the Surgeon General warning that is on every pack of cigarettes. Also, in Amsterdam, marijuana is legal and heavily regulated. According to Amsterdam.info, marijuana is widely tolerated, provided that it happens in a limited, controlled way, which is usually in a coffee shop that is served in small portions, with 5 grams being the maximum transaction that one can purchase. And they don't have many portions on stock, and they only sell to adults, with no minors being able to be on the premises, and there are no advertisement of drugs. So if marijuana legalization is regulated the right way, then these anti-drug campaigns and companies will not be undermined. And lastly, the likelihood of a fatal car crash related to driving under the influence of marijuana and other crimes will increase with the legalization of marijuana. If marijuana is legalized, then police officers will have more time to concentrate on other crimes that they can prevent. And also, with the foreign drug trade market for marijuana, it would take a significant hit that if it was legalized, so then less crime and violence will be associated with marijuana. And money gained from the legalization could be put towards funding for such programs for like the police department and these anti-drug programs that could be aimed at more deadly drugs. And also in the speech, my opponent states that marijuana affects visual perception, motor coordination, alertness, and tracking ability, which results in the likeliness of a crime. And according to Dr. Gary Wadler, a New York University School of Medicine professor, he states that marijuana use reduces maximal exercise capacity, resulting in increased fatigability, which basically means that marijuana makes the user more lazy. And so this increase of laziness makes like the likeliness of a crime committed seem a little less plausible, but still plausible. And so the legalization of marijuana would have minimal impact on the health, youth, and crime in society. And overall, legalized marijuana would help medical patients. It would cause a reduction in crime and create opportunity for the government to gain tax money on this cash crop. Thank you.
right, the organizational issues are fine. When you transition to the first point, it's relatively clear. You're trying to kind of minimize the harms by making a comparison to coffee, but I think it would be helpful if you had some evidence to cite on this particular point. That seems like a pretty big assertion. There's a discussion of medical benefits, which I'm not sure directly answers the advocate's claims about the potential harms. And in fact, the medical benefits, if the medical benefits do exist, is it necessary, for instance, to achieve those benefits to have legalization of marijuana? I don't really think that you want to get involved in that discussion because it's kind of a policy argument, so I'm not sure in the long run that that argument really answers the position of the advocate on this first point. On the second point, you have an interesting comparison that you're making to tobacco, and I think you need some better evidence to suggest that the anti-tobacco processes have worked substantially well. Of course, it's based on the number of users, and I think if you showed the total number of the population that uses marijuana in contrast to the total number of the population that uses tobacco, you'd find that there is a little bit of a difference. The example about Amsterdam and the way it's regulated there, I think that is an interesting comparison and analogy that you make, which tries to mitigate whatever potential harm would occur on this point, and I thought that that was okay. What was missing here is the information that says in Amsterdam, as a consequence, you don't get new users, you don't get people who are experimenting, you don't have increased use or consumption of marijuana because of the way it's regulated, and it doesn't get down below the age of adults. So that seems to be what the argument's about, and there's not any evidence that addresses those points. It addresses some other points. The transition to the third point was pretty clear. There are a whole bunch of assumptions here, though. For instance, that police time is going to be freed up as a result of legalization of marijuana. I'm not sure why that is the case, why you believe that's the case, and what evidence you have to support it, because there's no citation of any information on that. The notion that there's going to be a monetary benefit coming along, again, that's an assertion, and it shouldn't be hard to find some kind of information to show that there would be a potential benefit. The counterclaim on marijuana users being lazy, and as a result that they're too high to go out and commit crimes, I guess that's the argument that you're making here. It's an interesting approach. It doesn't seem to directly address the issue of driving, which is what the advocate talked about primarily on this point. And then other crimes, like I said, it's at best an indirect response to those. All right. Thank you.